Grand Rising. Welcome to Healing Hype Man, message of the day. Let's just jump right in. Let's see where we're going. What do we need to know today? What do we need to process? What about spirituality are we going to learn together? Where are we at? What are we going through? Let me know in the comments below. This is our community here on Instagram, and we're all vibing on the same frequency. We're all meant to meet each other for some sort of reason, right? I believe that. Grieving, boundaries, and passion. I don't know why I'm getting a sexual vibe here, not gonna lie. Grieving, boundaries, and passion. Let me see how I can really take a dive into this here. Grieving is like when we have to let things go, you know? Oof, okay. You know, people, places, and things in our life, and sometimes, you know, we realize at some point in time in spirituality, in your spiritual journey, you realize that there's certain people that aren't really good for you anymore, right? And sometimes you even realize that you might be the one that is doing the dirty, you know? I gotta be honest. And sometimes it's done unconsciously, but it's like when you go through your spiritual awakening, right, you wouldn't be here if we're not all spiritual beings trying to figure things out in life and trying to vibe on the same frequency, right? And I think that we might very well, I think this grieving card is more on like on a happy sense, as I see the sun, right? I think we're happy of that we're letting certain people go, especially those people that might have crossed our boundaries. And we put boundaries up, and I say this all the time, right? We put boundaries up to protect us. I know myself. I know what works for me, what doesn't, coming from, you know, my past, from my addictive patterns, my codependency, right? I've worked through all that. So my boundaries that I put up are for me. And I'd say majority of the time I will never cross my own boundaries. It's other people, other places, and other things that will cross the boundary that I've created, and either they don't know of that boundary or I let it be known that that boundary was able to be crossed, right? And I think I understand why I said sexual in the beginning, because it's like, you don't want to be a hoe, you know, but you post that thirst trap anyway, and then, you know, then you remove the comments, right? So then no one can comment on it. Okay, so it's just really a post for you to look good and post up. But then now you go and you put, you know, a certain hashtag, and it's like you ask for it, right? It's like you're doing things to ask, you're asking for it. So I think there might be aspects here that you're realizing that there's certain things that you have to let go, people, places, and things. I gave you that little example as to, like, you know, doing something that you think is good, but then you go and you do something else on top of that layer, like you just crossed your own boundary. Now you allowed everyone to just DM you and text you dirty things, right? You see what I'm saying? It's like, what was your initial intention behind that? And passion, I think that's why I thought sexual, because like sexuality here in some aspect. It's like, you know, I post pictures on Instagram and I remove the comments because I don't need thirst traps underneath it when I'm on my personal Instagram. When I post pictures of myself on my story, I recently started taking off the comments, so you can't really comment, because I did a test, and then every time I would put the comments there, I would just get dumb shit, you know. And then when I don't put the comments, nobody sends anything, because it's too many steps for you to comment, because you can't comment on a story if I remove the comments, right? So the point of me saying is that sometimes you gotta let go of people. Grieving, right? We're letting go of people, places, and things that are crossing our boundary, and in some senses they very well can they can diminish our light. They can take our spark from us, right? Because it's like you've done so much work, and so much work with yourself, fighting at the bottom, and so much healing. Wow. Right? So much fighting and so much healing. During your healing process, you're fighting yourself on like what it is that you really want. You're healing your body here, right? And I gotta be brutally, oh, this is beautiful. You are unconditioning yourself to fit in like other people. You're doing things from a different perspective, and you put up boundaries that people don't really understand because they're not part of your circle. 444. They're not part of, you know, you're a different person. You tick differently. You walk differently. You speak differently. If you're watching this, then you're part of my tribe, and we walk differently. People see us differently, and we tick differently, and people like that shit, so they're gonna go and try and touch that shit. And you're probably realizing that I'm better off letting people go and cutting people off that aren't going to cross my boundaries, so that I can keep my passion, so I can keep my light shining bright. Because, like I said, you're not the one that diminishes your light after you've done enough unconditioning and healing and fighting with yourself. You can honestly say there's a point in time when it's like, it's not me anymore. Like, you guys got to go. But that's also up to you to let these people go. How you do that is another aspect, and that's a whole challenging part. It's sometimes they just don't get it, and you don't want to be mean and tell it to them to their face. So I think here today's message is definitely about unconditioning the relationships in your life. You've been tuning in to what you're willing to compromise in your life, and you've had many breakthroughs about how you want to project yourself, about how you're projecting yourself, about how you are how other people are actually seeing you, right? Is it foggy when they look at you, or do they know exactly where you stand, right? Are you posting that thirst trap picture and leaving the comments at the bottom so they can post? Are you doing both, or how are you actually, you've gone through breakthroughs, you've tuned inwards, and you're being seen differently, and you might just be going through a process where now you feel a little lonely because you're grieving the people that you're trying to get rid of, that cross your boundary. And I also want to say, just the devil's advocate, I hope that you're not crossing your own boundary by setting yourself up for failure and saying you're going to do something and you do the exact opposite. Really take a look at, where did that come from? Was there alcohol involved? Was your inhibitions down? Was your cognitive abilities down? Was there a person or something that heightened your emotions, that made you cross your own boundary? Right? Take a look at all of that. Was it food? Was it what was it that pushed you over the border to cross your own boundary, if that is you? Just want to say that there. Let's pull a shamanic healing card here, right? There's a lot of work that has been done here, right? Projections, breakthroughs, tuning in, fighting with yourself, healing, unconditioning, right? You're no longer fitting in the same way. You are not walking around like everybody else as a sheep, because we're not sheep here. We're lions, okay? FYI, we're not the same, and it is what it is. Ascension, because we're ascending, my friends. We are ascending every day here in Healing Hype Man. My followers, I love all you guys here on Instagram. We ascend on a daily basis. We're tapping into our masculine energy today. That is very masculine energy when you have to push someone away, because you're protecting yourself. Protection, security, it's masculine energy. Passive and waiting is feminine energy, right? And we all have both. And maybe we're sick and tired of just waiting for someone to leave, that we actually just push them to leave, right? My name is Alvin Catalan. I am present. I'm done speaking now.